Hello, everyone. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. I'm sitting here with a pile of 14, here they are, this is it, 14 different recordings of Bizet's Symphony in C. And I've heard a lot more than that, but these are the 14 representative exemplars of the work that I've pulled out of my collection to talk to you about. And the reason is because I love this symphony. This is the most marvelous, precocious, amazing piece of music. And it's got an incredible background story. You know, Bizet wrote it when he was 17 and still at the Paris Conservatory. That was in 1855. It never got performed, as far as anyone knows. It just disappeared. He never said anything about it. He never did anything about it. It was loosely modeled on Gounod's First Symphony, which is a lovely work no one ever listens to either. And that was the end. It wasn't discovered until 1935, 80 years later, sitting around in the Paris library. They dug it out, dusted it off, and there was this symphony, this miraculous, marvelous, tuneful, joyous symphony. And it's an amazing piece of music. It's full of great tunes. It's immaculately orchestrated. It's so precocious, it's frightening. It really is. It's just remarkable. And, you know, one of the things I've always noticed, and it's an impossibility musically, is how similar it is to Prokofiev's classical symphony, which was written, you know, in the 1910s. Really, it's astonishing. I want to just compare the openings of the two, just so you can hear them one right after the other. I'm not even going to tell you which one is which. You just listen to these two pieces of music, one immediately following the other, and it's kind of amazing. You'll see what I mean. Listen to this. See what I mean? I mean, and in the finale of both works, there's a wonderful little tune in the Bizet that goes, it has some of those quirky melodic features that remind me of Prokofiev. So I'll play you the Bizet first. This time I'll tell you. The Bizet first, and then the Prokofiev. And you'll see what I mean there too. Listen here. Those were Naxos recordings, by the way, just so you know, because I have permission to use the sound samples. I find it incredible, this precocious piece of music. And I'm very particular about the performances that I love. And believe you me, I've listened to all of them because this is one of those pieces I collect. I really do, because I just think it has so much charm, and there's so many wonderful angles to it. You know, you can approach it as a romantic piece of music because it has these wonderful singing melodies, both in the first movement and particularly the finale. Ya da da da, boo doo 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 da da da. It's just, anyway, I'm not going to sing it. It's fantastically beautiful. You've got the exquisite oboe melody in the slow movement. It's sort of exotic, quasi-oriental tune, and you know, it's the test of a great oboist. It's really incredible. How this throwaway piece has so much to offer. And so I'm not going to waste any more time talking about it. We are going to just go through the recordings. And I'm starting with 4 absolute dogs. The dogs, the bow wows, the coasters, the ones that you thought they would be great, and they just didn't work out that way. First, I'm even going to take them out of here, because who cares about glare when they suck, right? Ansermet. You wish Ansermet well. You always do. He was a great, great conductor. He had a second-rate orchestra, and boy, do they sound second-rate here. This piece requires fabulous orchestral playing. I mean, you can get away with it if you don't have it, but it's so much better if you do. And this performance, even the performance itself, is so mechanical. It's studied. It's really disappointing. I'm really kind of shocked coming from Ansermet. He does great French music, but this was not one of his better ones. Also, a bow wow, woof, woof. You hear that, Pipo? Woof. No, she's not convinced. Du Toit. Wow, what a bore. What a bore this is. It's as if he doesn't care. The orchestra doesn't care. It's just, you hear these things, and in isolation, you might say, well, the playing's nice, it's pretty, it's nice music. But then you listen to it next to a really great performance, and you think, what were they thinking? What were they doing? I don't know what they were doing. I'm not listening. That's what I'm not doing. Not to that. Good heavens, no. Then there are the dull and duller twins. Mariner in the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields. It's neat, it's precise, it's clean, it has absolutely no feeling for the music whatsoever, as far as I can tell. I mean, these are, he did it twice, here they are, at least, who knows? Maybe there's another one sitting around somewhere. I don't understand it. I think that this music benefits from so much more than just good playing. It should have charm. It should have humor. It should have a certain romantic ardor to the lyrical sections. This is nicely played. That's it. Nothing more. They would do it just as well without a conductor. I mean, we have one group that does better without a conductor. You'll see in a moment. So those are the 4 bow wows, and there are many more. But I'm not going to get into them. I just want you to know, don't trust everything you see, especially in the Bizet Symphony. This is a special work for me. Now, let's talk about the more romantic approach. The more romantic approach is not terribly precise in terms of rhythm. The opening has a lot of string figuration in this work, especially in the finale, which opens bump, you can play that with extraordinary precision and point, which sounds marvelous, by the way, or you can sort of be really fast and exciting sometimes, and you have to make that second subject just sing. It can just open up like beautifully, and it's wonderful. It works fabulously well. And I have here, let's see, 4 sort of romantic versions that work really, really, really well. The first, this one may surprise you, Azawa with the Orchestra, what is this? The Orchestre Nationale de France on EMI. A beautiful performance, totally overlooked. No one pays attention to it. It has that cleanness and snappiness you want, but it's also sings where it needs to sing. It's a beautiful performance, and this is one of those works also where I just find that there's a Frenchness to it, and Ozawa is a wonderful conductor of French music. I don't know how quite to describe the Frenchness. Maybe you French people can describe the Frenchness. It has to have a certain liveliness, a snap to it, a wit, a dry wit, but also just the idea that it's going to just open its heart and sing when you least expect it. It's just lovely. Anyway, this performance does that. It delivers the goods. I'm very happy with it. Another one that is just, you see it coming is Stokowski. Leopold Stokowski, he was about 350 when he made this recording. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he knew Bizet, and Bizet told him how to do it. And it's just a National Philharmonic pickup orchestra, recording orchestra, but oh my. And the sonics are a little tubby, but wow, when you get to those lyrical tunes, nobody could make them sing the way Stokowski could. It's just hearing the second subject of the finale is worth the price of admission. It really is. Another guy who is wonderful at that kind of music was Leonard Bernstein. And this is an absolutely first-class performance of the symphony. I always thought that it could be that second subject of the Candide Overture comes from the finale of this symphony. That tune in the finale. Ya da da da, boo doo 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 da 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 da. You know how it goes, right? And then the Candide Overture. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. I know it's me, but there's something similar there in that kind of easy, elegant lyricism that Bernstein had. He really did. It was one of his gifts as a composer. And of course, Bizet had it like no tomorrow. So, this is a beautiful, beautiful performance. Bernstein with the New York Philharmonic. Also, sort of a classic from a guy who just loved French music and could play it like nobody else when he was hot. Thomas Beecham. This is great. This is also kind of a tubby-sounding recording, the early EMI French stereo recordings. I think this is with the Orchestre National de la Radiodiffusion Française. And they were a little bit, here and there, but it's Beecham. It has that Schwung is the German sound, that German word, that energy, that swoop to the melodies. It's beautiful. It's marvelous. Now, there's something else you should know, which is, of course, these older performances specifically don't usually take repeats. There are repeats in the finale and in the first movement, and I don't care. I just want to hear a great performance. If the performance is great, I'd rather hear a repeat. But if it isn't, what does it matter? Anyway, let's talk about now. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 versions that I think are really, really good, that are worthy of consideration. And some of them, again, may surprise you a little bit. And these are sort of my faves of I wouldn't call them entirely romantic or one is entirely classical style. And the others are, I think, a happy medium. So let's do first. You know what? Let's do the classical one first. This is the really classical one. Orpheus. No conductor, fabulously precise, amazingly pointed, and it comes with Prokofiev's Classical Symphony and the Britten Simple Symphony. I mean, it's a great coupling, and wonderful, wonderful pieces that all go together well. Hearing the Prokofiev and the Bizet together, I just think is a great experience. You should sit down and listen to them one after the other. It's a great pairing. But boy, these are hot performances. Like so many of these Orpheus recordings, they're so musical and marvelous to listen to, and out of print, as usual, although maybe downloadable. As I've said before a million times, we need the Orpheus box. We need the Orpheus box. Yeah, come on, Universal, do it, the Orpheus box. Anyway, now, having said that, that is the best of the classical versions. Hands down, the classical style versions. But for the ones that I think give sort of the best of both worlds, the happy medium, the wonderful marriage of classicism and romantic effusion, here's the one that may surprise you. I mean, it surprised me. Naxos. This is the New Zealand. This is one I played some samples from. The New Zealand Symphony Orchestra with Donald Johannes. It's very, very good. The recording is a little tubby. It's a little dull on top. But boy, the performance is just lovely. Full of that, like I said, zest, energy. It has a pulse. It's not dead and dreary, but also nice and precise and sharp and crisp. It's really, really very, very good. I mean, it was a very, very pleasant surprise for me. But, of course, Martinot. You got to have Martinot. Martinot was, of course, a composer himself. He played music as a composer would, with that kind of dry-eyed clarity on the one hand, but on the other hand, he understood the style. The orchestra plays beautifully for him. Which one is this? This is with ORTF, the same group, basically, that Beecham had, except they got a T. In addition to radiodiffusion, the télévision was added to the radiodiffusion. Anyway, it's a fantastic performance, just delightful from first note to last. Another one also sort of you'd be surprised, this is really more the romantic than the classical aspect, I suppose, but it's just so exciting. Charles Munch with the Royal Philharmonic. This was originally, remember, a Reader's Digest recording that was on Chesky. I think it was coupled with like Francesca de Rimini or something really odd. And now here it is back on Hensler Profil, which is fine with me. You get the L'Arlésienne suites with Chuck Gerhardt, and this is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful symphony in C, and exciting. Oh my God, it's exciting. Munch drives it really, really hard, and it's just a thrill to listen to. I guess it really belongs in the romantic category, but I put it as a happy medium of both because it's one of my happy performances. And so I just stuff it where I want to see it. And then there are two more modern recordings that I think are extraordinary, really extraordinary, that I think do the music proud in every respect, and that really do achieve that balance, that happy medium between the music's classicizing tendencies and its romantic actualities. One, Jesus López Cobos with the Cincinnati Symphony on Telarc. First of all, the recording is stunning sonically, and the piece is colorfully orchestrated, so beautifully scored, really benefits. And you really want to have a good balance. You want to hear the trumpets and timpani with their quiet little motives, and you want to hear all the string articulation. This is a wonderful performance. López Cobos was an elegant gentleman of a conductor, and he was made for a piece of music like this. He really was. He does a superb job, and you get a Carmen suite and a L'Arlésienne suite number 1, and it's all very nice. So that's definitely worth having, and if you can find it, and it's still around, and I think it's just heavenly. However, I have to tell you, I've thought about this really hard. I've done a lot of listening in real time, and I know, you guys, you all have recordings of this symphony. If you're going to comment in this, I challenge you in this case. Don't just say, I like this one. Pull it off your shelf and tell me it's the one you've been sitting on for the past 25 years. You don't need to have, 40 versions of it, but do some listening in real time. See if your memory is not playing tricks on you. Because it does. I'm telling you, it does. Listen to several versions. You don't have to listen to all of them. Play the opening couple of minutes. Play a bit of the finale. Listen to how the strings articulate. Listen to the oboe solo in the slow movement. Listen to the drone bass in the trio of the minuet. Listen to those different aspects of the performance. If you have more than one recording, or if you subscribe to a download service and you can listen to several of them, do that. Give it some time. Give the piece the attention it deserves, and then see if your original idea, if your original thought still holds true, because it may really surprise you. The results may really surprise you. I'm always shocked. You always have to go back and keep listening and listen to the recordings that you thought you put away or didn't have, or there have been times I've got rid of recordings and then I've heard something on a radio and I go, oh, that's great. It was something that made no impression on me at all the first time. And this is a symphony that I think benefits from that kind of attention. It really does. It really does. So think about what you're going to say before you say it, because I'm always eager to see your comments. But informed opinion is the way to do it, folks. You got to listen and know what you're talking about. So my version, the one that gives me endless quantities of joy, that I think offers the perfect balance of every conceivable element: conducting, pacing, playing, the classical, the romantic, the stuff, High Tink. Of course, I blew that. High Tink with the concerto. Holy mackerel. It is so beautiful. so bloody beautiful. You've got an orchestra that had, one of the great wind sections in the universe, a conductor who is self-effacing, but who could really get behind music that benefits from musical help in the best sense, in the traditional sense of musical elements, clean rhythms, beautiful balances, elegant phrasing, all of those things that Haydn could bring to a work, he brings to this Symphony in C. It's coupled, by the way, with the Edo de Vart San Francisco Sansol Organ Symphony, which is one of my great recordings of that. So this disc, this Eloquence disc, is a fantastic coupling. And my God, it's just the Symphony in C to die for. I tell you, it is so heartwarmingly beautiful. And that's all I have to say about it. Keep on listening, folks. Get the Haydn. Compare it to any other version you know. Take care, and I'll see you next time.